Hello, YouTube. ZiggyNo back with another video. And this one we're going to call the state of grading as of May 27th, 2021. And the reason I say that is because, boom, grading has been going crazy. There's so many options, so many different things going on in the hobby, advancements in technology. Well, we'll get into that right now. If you haven't already, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Hey, give me a thumbs down if you don't. And I love your comments. I really do. Let me do one of these bangs, right? Okay, so let's jump into the content. I'm going to start by saying the first most important thing you should be asking yourself when you're watching this video is, why am I grading? Am I grading to resell or am I grading to keep for myself? Okay, I'll remind you, grading is the opinion of somebody else that's encapsulating that moment and telling you it's a 9. Okay, that's all it is, someone's opinion. And we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Let's start with some of the major changes. I'm going to focus on the first half of this video on the new guys to the block, the 2021 grading companies. And you have to start here with HGA because HGA has changed the way grading is done. There's two things HGA did they brought to the industry, and I applaud them for doing this. First of all, it appears they had a ramp up. They were planning in 2020. The owner is a businessman. He did some interviews. He talked about HGA. He had a business plan on a queuing system, how many cards he's going to be able to take in, how he's going to scale his business and grow it. He's got it's a very smart, organized business plan. You cannot fault that. Again, I applaud every one of the graders that we're going to talk about today. So in that execution, they offered AI, artificial intelligence, that they were going to use to help in the grading process. And I won't go into what AI, but they did offer it. Now, I will confess, I have not seen their videos or demonstrations, but I do believe they have those now. They do have video demonstrations to share with you. But they offered, most importantly, customized slabs that you could get color splash or blended to match the jersey. Things that, in my opinion, differentiated the card and made it more collectible for individuals who are true collectors. So I thought that was awesome. I was skeptical when they started. I really didn't think that they would be embraced, but they were, not just by collectors, but by flippers or investors, because you saw them selling on eBay and selling for much more than their raw value was, and often even better than some of the other counterparts in this space. So I will say, fast forward, here we are in the May. I did see some negative videos on them where they've had challenges with some spelling mistakes. They had a challenge with grading an autograph that apparently was a fake or altered autograph. They had some comments about being too strict on their grading, too many 9s on their gem rates and stuff like that. Criticism, I would say, as they're growing. At the same time, business is good. They're still filling spots, and they still are, definitely a leader in this new technology. They are definitely considered, I hear them referred to as a viable 4. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment when I talk about the other, what I refer to as the big 4. So maybe they're a viable 5, but we'll get into that. Next one I'll talk about is Revolution card grading. And let me just give a shout out to, I think it was Hobby Lottery, who I saw the first videos on this. One of the videos he talked about, he received a 10, a perfect 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and got a 10. The other video had a 10, 10, 10, and a 9.5, and he got a 9.5. And he discussed it with them. There was some chatter on Instagram. They responded back and they corrected that to a 10. Actually, they changed their system where they have kind of a black label equivalent, and then they have a pristine like equivalent. If you follow BGS, you'll know what I'm talking about. But what I liked about that is they were responsive to the community and the customer. And I think part of it is they want to grade, strictly and show they're not just giving out grades. I don't think any company wants to come here and water down the market, but maybe they were being too strict. These guys also offered these customized slabs, but they also offered, customized slab around the entire card here, which I think is a key differentiator. And you can work with these guys to have a customized slab created for yourself, a template, I believe, that you could reuse if you like to, for all your slabs. The next one I'll mention is Gem Mint grading. These guys came to my attention via Extreme Card Breaks, I believe it was. What I found interesting is, first of all, they have these labels where you can get your name on there, your collection, state, address, phone number. You can customize a label to you. So very collector focused. They also go into their grading method, and they show you some videos here of how they do centering, how they do surface imaging, and they're using artificial intelligence. Now, this is the first AI demonstration I've seen, and it impressed me, right? And it impressed me. It also made me feel good thinking the future is grading will be AI, which makes me think another thing. I like that because I don't like, and I don't take this the wrong way, guys, but I don't like wizards determining the value of my card. I want fair standards, technology determining the value of my card, right? Like, for example, think if we weighed gold by going, I think that's an ounce, right? I think it's short an ounce, right? I don't know if that's the same analogy, but that's what I'm thinking. So Gem Mint, I have not used any of these 3 new graders that I'm talking about, by the way. but I am aware of them. I do have plans to use them. So if you're using them, I'd love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, comments, and so forth. The next ones I have used. So, well, I am using, I'll say in the process of. The next one is the Grading Authority. Now, I'll tell you, the Grading Authority popped up back in February. Revolution and GMG, I'm not sure when they popped up. They just recently popped up on my map in the last few weeks, okay? But TGA was my map probably back in February, March. I reached out to these guys. These guys were on an interview with my channel. We talked to them, really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate them coming on. And they are very much focused on grading. They're grading. They're not doing customized labels. These are the labels. And I say that because to me, you can tell they had a business plan. They've been launching. They've got, I mean, again, they know what they're doing. They didn't just throw away and go, hey, I'm going to add customized labels because HGA did that. They didn't react to that market that way. And now with these other guys coming out, they're still staying in that. Now, if they do react and do customized labels, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. I think customized labels are good. I will let you know how I do with these guys. Again, I'm excited to use them. Everything so far has been great customer service, great support. So we'll see how it goes from there. The next one I'll mention is another company I am using or have sent cards to get graded, and again, we'll see how this goes. Pure Graded X. I will also tell you, I know several of the owners, not personally, but I am friends with Thomas, who's the artist there. And what I liked about Pure Graded X is that they do have a very customer focus where they're going to grade with you, right? Not grade with you. I'm sorry. They're going to customize labels with you. I think Thomas will talk to you and help customize labels and send you samples, and you can match that. And I think that's an awesome touch. I think that's a key differentiator. These guys are also very, very entrepreneurial focused. One feedback I'll say is if I compare your site to the other guys, right? I feel like Pure Graded, you guys are rushing the website. Maybe slow down, clean it up a little bit, because you're trying to do a lot at one time. Don't try to boil the ocean. Just focus on a few things and execute really well. I think there's plenty of business for the entire market here. I think all these companies are going to do well and provide, like I said, fair grading options. Now, again, they all have a great attraction if you're looking for a collectible, right? I just want a card that's graded. I'll grade it, and then 10 years later, I'll worry about, if TGA or ABC or PGC or BGX is around. That's not important to me. It's graded. It's secure. I got it in my PC. That's one thing. There also probably is a play here for resale, for flipping, for making a profit off these. A raw card in a graded 10 or graded 9.5 or in a graded customized slab might attract the attention of buyers, right? I've definitely seen that with HGA slabs. I think more and more of these slabs come on the market. We will see the market's on a downtrend, but I do think there's value there. I also think the fact their timelines are so quick that these guys can get these cards back to you in a month or 2 months gives you an opportunity to maybe flip a card 2 or 3 times versus if you go on PSA, you're waiting a year, right? If you go on BGS, I don't know. And the other ones, I think are slowing down as well. So those are the first, I got called the 5 of 2021. Now I'm going to go through kind of the big boys. And in fairness, I'm going to start with CSG. CSG is actually kind of, you don't think of them as the big 4, but they have great pedigree. They've been doing comics for years. They announced they were going to do this last year. They hired away graders from Beckett. So they've got real, Beckett graders on their team. I would say they took a long time to launch. Their slabs are not customized. They're just, hey, they're subgrades and here's their grade. I don't know. My first thoughts are they remind me of the big 4 in the fact that they're slow to move, right? They were talking about this. They could have launched last year and probably taken a lot of market share. I mean, SGC went from doing 90% vintage to 90% modern because Peter got in front of a bunch of people and said, hey, send me your cards, right? If CSG had been available sooner, I think they would have been hit and made some business and seen some stuff. I think they're already getting some backlog. I also want to applaud the fact they are doing a workshop coming up end of June that I'm hoping to maybe attend. I think it'd be fun to go there to learn about grading, and the fact they're being public and open about that. I hope somebody does go down there and maybe share some content with the YouTube community on that. But again, I haven't planned to use CSG. I will say part of it is that I'm either leaning to, if I'm going to sell for resale, I'm probably still going Beckett or PSA right now. And if I'm doing for PC, I'm probably going to go customized slab. So that's just what I'm thinking right now. That could change. Let me go ahead and talk about the next guy in my video here, and that is SGC. Now, SGC, I'll be honest, I've been a little critical of these guys, but I've learned a lot about them, and I appreciate them, and I still find value and use for them. First of all, I know they've got a passionate bunch of SGC heads that just love SGC, and if I say anything negative, man, they just don't like me. So I'm not saying anything negative, but what I learned about SGC is that, again, 13 months ago, these guys were 8 people, and one of those was Peter, okay? Which means they might have had 7 graders. They didn't have 7 graders. They didn't have Peter and 7 graders, but they had a few graders. And then they got slammed, and they went from 8 to 100, which means they have a lot of new graders, right? And that makes me understand again, it's just wizards. It's wizards again doing grading, which is fine. When I saw the interviews with them, I didn't see any investment in new technology, no mention of AI. So those things concern me about SGC. I think they're in a wonderful position. I think they're going to get a lot of business with PSA and Beckett kind of being asleep at the wheel or not being present. But I just think they could do so much more. I'm inspired by Peter. Peter, if you're listening, man, shout out. I'd love to talk to you. Just call me anytime. I give free advice to anybody right now. I just love the hobby, love to chat, and I would give you some feedback on some things that I think, that you might not have thought about or from your perspective. But you're in a unique position here. I think you should look at maybe offering customized slabs in some way, right? You could do a lot with your landscape there, the tuxedo time, and maybe you hate that idea. The next one I'm going to talk about is the big dog, and that's PSA. I'm trying to keep this video short and concise, and I hope you're still here. So thank you very much. Let's do a boom, right? Anyway, PSA, big dog. I want to remind you guys, if you're new to the hobby, PSA was not a big dog 3 years ago. PSA was vintage mainly. PSA gained a lot, and a couple factors that created the perfect storm for PSA to rise. One thing is PSA doesn't do a 9.5. They have a 9.5 in their scale. They just don't issue it. Now that's kind of the way they've been. So if you look back 3 years ago, people would go get gem mints. They would go to Beckett first and they get a gem mint. If they didn't get a gem mint, they'd go to PSA. Yeah, that's the truth. You'd actually used to crack, 9 BGS 9s and you'd sub them PSA because you knew you could probably get a 10. And what happened was you had all these investors, these new people come to the hobby, and they were just buying up stuff. They buy anything they're told. And they didn't know the difference between a 9.5 with subgrades and a 9.5 with other subgrades, but they understood the difference between a 10 and a 9.5 or a 9, right? That makes sense. And it's very easy. So what I say here is uneducated buyers really pumped up the value of PSA. That's a fact of life, guys. There's some other things about PSA that kind of worry me. They did buy Gemamit, and they came out with this point they're going to use it for fingerprinting technology. I applaud that, but fingerprinting technology is not new, nor is this make you special. In fact, I want you to make that a standard so others can fingerprint as well. Maybe use, I've said this before, guys, a blockchain registry, right? And I'll talk a little bit more with that with Beckett. But PSA is a unique position. I'm a little concerned that I feel like it's Cartman's Wonderland that he closed down just for the wealthy, because people are still grading with them. And if you get a 10, you're getting maximum value. So they're still attracting a lot of the auction houses are going to go after them, although most of the big cards are Beckett. Let's talk about Beckett right now. Last grade I'm going to talk about, thank you guys for hanging in there, is Beckett. Beckett, in my opinion, is in the position to be the leader. I like Beckett. If you're a collector, I'll put it this way. If you took every slab and you put it in front of somebody, I'm going to bet they're going to pick Beckett and or a customized slab first. And if you were to combine those, you'd have a game changer winner, right? So if you had customized and Beckett behind, I think you could win. So Beckett, when you wake up, there's so many things you could do. You dominate the space in the most $1 million, sales, because most of them are in Beckett slabs, right? The Bowmans were Beckett. A lot of the RT, the NP, the exquisite RPAs are Beckett, because again, Beckett does a great job in grading patches and thick cards and glass cards. Beckett, please wake up. You've got a great name. You're one of the leaders in authentication. I'll leave on this last note. Authentication, I talked about grading. If authentication is important, like autographs, through the mail autographs, stuff where you're uncertain about the authenticity, you should really be thinking Beckett first. PSA probably as well, and some other guys, but I'm telling you, Beckett is a leader in the authentication. Beckett slabs, very quality, solid slabs. The black label, could they do something customized? I don't know. Anyway, I don't like going too long, and I've already gone longer than I like to. I hope this video made sense. I hope you're walking away with this going, wow, I know now there's a few other graders out there. Hey, I didn't think about it that way. Also, guys, let's applaud and appreciate everybody out there in the hobby doing a hustle, getting it on. I know I make fun of people with the tip jars and the join buttons. I don't like that, but I do applaud these businesses who put an option together, who are building, customization, who are doing certain things to differentiate. May I suggest, graders, if you're listening, I want a blockchain registry and pop count, blockchain registry and pop count. Contact me to explain that. I also think there's one other thing I was going to say. It slipped my mind. You'll hear about that in my next video, guys. Thanks again. Come back. Hope you had a great day. And again, I really appreciate everybody for your subscribing, your comments, your feedback. That other thing didn't come back to me.